College is to prove you can do your chores, but not for learning. Phew. What was that?
But you can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
That was Super Brat John McEnroe for you. Now let's hear what another legend has to say.
You don't need college to learn stuff, okay? Everything is available basically for free.
He feels the main value of college is to test a student's resolve. Will they finish their annoying assignment on time, rather than will they learn something from it?
And then also you probably want to hang around with a bunch of people your own age for a while instead of going right into the workforce. So I think colleges are basically for fun and to prove you can do your chores, but they're not for learning.
Take a moment to let that sink in. It's important to know why AI innovation in education is struggling. The education systems in most of the advanced nations are fragmented at the state and local level, making adoption progress at snail's pace. Let's hear from Stanford HAI at the AI Education Summit.
So number one, anyone who thinks about various questions about American education knows immediately that it is an unbelievably fragmented or decentralized or localized system, which makes the adoption of any new innovation across the entire system incredibly fraught. An historian of education I took courses with 25 years ago at the Graduate School of Education named Larry Cuban said frequently in classes that the last innovation adopted at scale and that's persisted over the course of decades in American education is the blackboard and chalk.
Let's look at where the AI adoption is happening. Singapore, China, Finland, Estonia, and Sweden are the top 5 in AI adoption in education. USA, China, UK, Israel, and India are where the innovation is happening. Now, Singapore and Finland have a very centralized, cohesive education system. And even though Singapore is densely populated, it is a very small state. And Finland has a low population. China is the only country which has managed to get both AI adoption as well as innovation to happen. And that is primarily due to its completely centralized education system. It's not about the prowess in AI innovation, it is an execution problem. Adoption challenges in India and the US are similar. If we look at India and the US, both countries have common challenges. In India, you have multiple education boards, the ICSE, CBSE, and then the state boards. In the US, the state and local authorities control the education system. And then you have the teachers and educators who are overloaded due to the high student-teacher ratio and limiting past beliefs, making them resistant to change. What about the cost of education? This report shows costs doubling in private colleges in the US. Look at 06-07 where we are at 30,000 US, and then 21-22 at 50,000 plus. If you extrapolate this to 2024, as of now we are clearly above 60,000. So yes, the cost has doubled over the last 15 years. So then, is the degree worth it? The average annual fees for the top 5 universities in the US tech programs is 50,000 US annually, totaling to a staggering 200,000 for a 4-year degree with a placement rate between 80 and 90%. On the other hand, the average costs for the top 5 online tech programs in the US is around 16,000, a staggering 12 times lower, and that too with a placement rate between 70 and 85%. Not bad at all. Google's 6-month program comes at a fraction of the cost of a university degree. Here's a preview.
There are still obvious perks of going to university. Those with a bachelor's degree still earn $500 more a week than those who only graduated high school, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. However, Now there's a plan that could topple the ivory tower. Google made a huge announcement in the middle of the pandemic. It said it would beef up its online school, offering new courses in data analytics, project management, and user experience design, created and taught by Google employees in the related fields. These courses are not meant to supplement your university degree, but replace it. Google's Senior Vice President of Public Affairs, Kent Walker, tweeted, "In our own hiring, we will now treat these new career certificates as the equivalent of a 4-year degree for related roles in high-growth, high-paying fields in which Google says the average salary is $63,000 a year." Walker wrote in a blog post that college degrees are out of reach for many Americans as they struggle to pay back student loans, whereas Google's 6-month courses cost $234, the price of just university textbooks. Tuition in the US has ballooned over the decades. The cost of tuition, fees, room and board at a 4-year private university in America is around $52,000 per academic year. The vast majority of the spending goes toward paying staff and faculty, according to The Atlantic. Despite having some of the most expensive tuition in the world, the US lags far behind other developed nations in math and technology skills, more necessary than ever as our jobs are increasingly automated. The OECD studied the competency of adults around the world, surveying 245,000 people in 39 countries. How did the US fare? When it comes to solving problems with digital technology, the US was in 18th spot. America fared worse when it comes to math skills, sitting in 27th place. This suggests a mismatch between what people are currently taught at American schools and what skills are actually required in the real world.
In India too, the most prestigious institutions in tech and management failed to place more than a third of their students. It's been big news earlier this year.
Most of us agree that IITs are among the top colleges worldwide, the Indian Institutes for Technology. The assumption is you crack the IIT and you're set for life. A big pay package awaits you. Perhaps not anymore. The news coming out of the IITs is worrying. In the Bombay campus, 36% students are yet to be placed. Some 2,000 students had registered for placement. More than 700 are yet to get a job. We're talking about the best engineering college in India, also among the best globally. Yet 36% of its students are yet to be placed, and it's not a one-off. Last year was more of the same. In 2023, around 33% students did not get jobs. What does this tell you? The obvious, that the job market is struggling, and the data shows something peculiar. The more educated you are, the tougher it is to find a job. So we need to ask an important question. What is your college degree worth? Let's look at engineering first. The average cost of a degree is around 8 lakh rupees, which is $9,500 US, the average. And what is the average salary? Between 15 and 30,000 rupees per month, let's say around $200. And this depends on a lot of variables like how the national economy is doing, how good your college is, and how efficient you are as an individual. You see, a degree is like any other commodity. Higher the supply, lower the price. In this case, the price does not mean college fees, it means your salary. Again, let's look at MBAs. Every year, more than 230,000 MBAs enter the market, 230,000 every year, and that number will keep going up. Now, do you see the problem here? More and more MBAs are entering the market, but the demand simply isn't there. In fact, MBA job openings dropped 55% in January this year. So what should students do? Well, the advice is quite simple. Follow the market. Focus on employability, not on degrees. That seems to be the biggest problem at the moment. Companies want people with specific skill sets. In the past, they would hire such people, but now they prefer to build them. Listen to one industry expert, and I'm quoting, "A graduate at 5 to 6 lakh trained for 1 year is probably more relevant and effective than an MBA at 12 lakh who still needs to go through unlearning." Also, do not panic like it's the end of the world. Do not think that such changes are unprecedented or earth-shattering. Degrees going out of fashion is quite common. Just ask your friend with a Bachelor of Arts degree.
क्या आने वाले 50 सालों में IIMs रेलेवेंट होंगे?
क्या आने वाले 50 सालों में कॉलेजेस रेलेवेंट रहेंगे?
आप एक सीजन एंटरप्रेन्योर हो, आप एक इंजीनियर हो, आप एक वॉटन ग्रेजुएट हो, प्लस आपने कॉर्पोरेट दुनिया की बेस्ट पार्ट देखी हुई है. 2012 के जॉब इंटरव्यू फेज और 2024 के जॉब इंटरव्यू फेज में कुछ फर्क है?
Amazon, Google, Walmart सबने बोल दिया है कि हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है कि आपके पास कोई बैचलर्स डिग्री हो.
तो ये IIT टू IIM या IIT टू इंटरनेशनल MBA का करियर पाथ एंड में पैसों के लिए होता है.
जो 1 करोड़ के पैकेज होते हैं वो US में होते हैं, तो वहाँ का 1 करोड़ यहाँ का 25-30 लाख के आसपास आप मान लीजिए.
एक जॉब प्रोफाइल जिसके बारे में हम कॉलेज में बात नहीं करते थे, वो ये फाउंडर्स ऑफिस रोल.
ये आपके एक MBA का रिप्लेसमेंट भी हो सकता है. मेरे पास सारे ब्रांड्स थे, राइट. IIT दिल्ली था, वॉटन था, बेन था, बट मुझे खुद का स्टार्टअप स्टार्ट करने का करेज तभी आया जब मैंने 2 साल फाउंडर्स ऑफिस में काम किया.
आपके आईआईटी के फ्रेंड्स अब क्या करें?
जो फ्रंट बेंचर्स थे मेरे जैसे वो चले गए नौकरियों में. जो बैक बेंचर्स थे उन्होंने ट्राई किया, एक स्टार्टअप किया, 2 किया, 3 किया, वो आज यूनिकॉर्न फाउंडर्स हैं.
उफ.
That was a lot of information. So let's do a quick recap. Bureaucratic barriers, escalating costs, attenuated value of degrees, stifled innovation, and task-based education. I know what you're thinking. All this is good info, but hello, how do we tame this beast? I'm Kapil Khanna, your Ed AI guide. I'm here to empower you with the knowledge and tools necessary to make informed decisions about the future of your children in the uncertain world of AI in education. From uncertainty to conviction, let's cross the bridge together. But before we meet in the next video, here's some food for thought.
The technology we're using is going to be quaint and antiquated. We need a strategy. For me, strategy is about leadership in the future. How are we going to lead tomorrow? How are we going to lead in 5 years, 10 years? And in a world where the only constant is change, like I've demonstrated, then the education system needs to adapt, and it needs to adapt fast. This is where I deliver some bad news. Based on my experience, I don't think we're going to move fast enough. You might wonder, though, is that really bad news? Is there an alternative? I think there is going to be an alternative that reaches us. The education system is not going to be able to keep up with this. It's too tied down on politics. It's too tied down on this is what worked yesterday, so it will work tomorrow. There are schools now appearing around the world that will give your children a phenomenal education. They're coming from online schools, they're coming from schools from America. This is a school come out of California, it's called Synthesis, where they meet with children around the world a few times per week, and they teach them specifically problem-solving skills and collaboration skills. And the children doing this, 8, 9, 10 years old, have already got interest from industry because they know that they're going to have some really, really valuable skills when they're a bit older. This is the school.
Synthesis is like the next level of education.
You're learning by playing a game. And it's not like your ordinary school where you just sit in a classroom and someone tells you what to do.
Non-traditional disruption is coming to education. I think we're going to get a decentralized education journey. I've got a 2 and a 3-year-old. I can't wait to be able to choose what they're going to do. They're going to do synthesis. They're going to spend time at sports clubs in the afternoon. They're going to spend times with their friends. We have to. I think we're living in a time now where we can't just farm out our children's education and think that the education system knows what it's doing. I'm speaking from someone who was in the education system. We all have to ask this question: why are we sending our kids off to school? And is there an alternative?